For Pacifica Radio, Ina Onnested. President Biden is trying to tamp down concerns about his age and mental capacity as House Republicans are calling for a congressional hearing into what they say is his cognitive decline. And Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is calling for cognitive testing for all candidates. Christopher Martinez reports.
By Monday morning, at least 5 Democratic lawmakers had called on President Joe Biden to be replaced on the Democratic ticket in the wake of his dismal performance in his debate with Donald Trump. But Biden says he's not bowing out. He took part in a phone interview on MSNBC's Morning Joe program.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a Democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So
he was asked about some of the prominent Democrats that have called for a replacement candidate, including Adam Schiff, Julian Castro, and Tim Ryan. Biden was not impressed, saying he does not care what big names think.
Run against me. Go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Besides his interviews and campaign speeches, Biden paid a surprise visit to the Democratic campaign office in Philadelphia, where he was greeted with chants of 4 more years. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman also showed up.
There is only one person in the country that's ever kicked Trump's ass in an election, and that is your president.
Besides Democrats, Biden also got a show of support from independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Sanders praised Biden for having the guts to talk about issues like taking on corporate America, along with issues like Social Security, expanding Medicare, and a permanent child tax credit to address childhood poverty. I'm Christopher Martinez.
NATO leaders are gathering in Washington for a 75th anniversary summit, which kicks off today. Heads of state will work to shore up the transatlantic support for Ukraine in its battle against Russia. President Joe Biden will also seek to demonstrate he's capable of meeting the grinding demands of the presidency for 4 more years. The president said his work at the summit would be a good way to judge his continued ability to do the job. 8 people are dead after Hurricane Beryl slammed into Texas and Louisiana Monday. 7 died in Texas. 1 of them drowned after getting trapped in floodwaters. 2 others from falling trees. 1 died in Louisiana. The Category 1 hurricane has also left millions of Texans without power in a sweltering heat wave as it now barrels towards Arkansas and the Great Lakes, forecasted to bring rains and flooding. Texas officials say restoring power is a top priority. Here's Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick.
Close to 2.7 million people without power in Texas. That number may grow for a while, and we're going to talk about that in a moment with Thomas Gleason from the Public Utility Commission. And that's going to take a multiple-day process to get power restored. We had the last report, 10 transmission lines down.
June was the hottest month on record, marking the 13th consecutive hottest month, surpassing pre-industrial average temperatures that climate scientists have warned against. Climate activists rallied in New York Monday. Dozens were arrested outside Citibank, saying it's one of the largest financiers of fossil fuel projects. The burning of fossil fuels is one of the leading causes of climate change. Ada Shaheen reports.
Hundreds of protesters and climate activists took to the streets of New York Monday morning in front of the Citigroup headquarters in Manhattan, which operates Citibank. The protest was part of the Summer of Heat on Wall Street, a campaign organized by a coalition of around 100 organizations that are demanding Wall Street stop funding oil, coal, and gas. Summer of Heat said it targeted Citigroup because the investment bank is the #1 financial supporter of fossil fuel expansion. The demonstrators held a funeral procession honoring the victims of climate change before performing a die-in at City Plaza, complete with chalk outlines around people's bodies and gravestones commemorating some of what's been lost to climate change. Demonstrators blockaded the entrance of the Citigroup building and 46 people were arrested. All of them were cited and released within a matter of hours. Among the arrested was Sheldon Pollock, a former professor at Columbia University.
These are all important and continue to be important engagements. But we're at a point in the climate crisis where we recognize that something more dramatic, intense, consequential, immediate has to be undertaken.
Summer of Heat activists say they're basing their campaign on a previously successful model. In May, Multinational bank Barclays came out with a plan to cut emissions to zero, including emissions of the companies it finances, after a series of coordinated protests against the bank. For Pacifica Radio, I'm Atta Shaheen.
Heavy Israeli bombardment is shaking Gaza City as thousands of fleeing Palestinians search for shelter and medical facilities have shut down. Israel's new ground assault in Gaza's largest city is its latest effort to battle Hamas militants that it says has regrouped in areas the army previously said had been largely cleared. Today is Black Women's Equal Pay Day, and advocates are pushing for legislation they say would advance equal pay amidst disparities. Suzanne Potter reports.
The wage gap is stark. Black women working full-time year-round make 69 cents for every dollar compared with non-Hispanic white men. And the number is 66 cents when you include all full, part-time, and part-year workers. Deborah Vagans is director of the Equal Pay Today Coalition, a project of the nonprofit civil rights group Equal Rights Advocates.
So Black women have to work all the way into July of this year to make what white non-Hispanic men would have made in 2023 alone. This is an acknowledgement of that pay gap.
Advocates are pressing Congress to pass the Paycheck Fairness Act, which would protect all workers against retaliation for discussing their pay. It would also ban the use of prior salary history when setting wages and require the federal government to collect pay data from employers, making it easier to root out disparities. I'm Suzanne Potter.
I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.